The champ is here!
It's just a man! Give me a hell yeah! What the Rock is cooking?
To be the man, you have to be the man! Big bubble pump! And you're hooked up!
Fallen!
Holla! And the air!
Woo, woo, woo!
Cup of coffee in the big day.
Let me talk to you. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. Work of the Marks coming to you live here on Famcast Media. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Fernando Uribe. Of course, he is Pennsylvania's premier wrestling observer, Macho Rodriguez. And of course, New Jersey's premier wrestling analyst, Jose Manito, joining us here on this Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023. Again, folks, make sure sharing is caring. Click that share button and let everybody that you know on social media, make them aware about how much you love Work of the Marks. Once again, via Famcast Media on Facebook Live, via StreamYard, also on YouTube, as well as other platforms as well. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Excited to go over the show here.
I'm a little upset because as the star of the show, I should be introduced first. But you introduced me third. And I have more tenure over this guy up here or wherever he is over there on the other side, you know. But I need to be introduced first. You're hardly ever here, Uribe. It's a fucking minor miracle that you've been here back-to-back weeks.
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm shocked you haven't had some sort of event or ribbon cutting or you're breaking a glass bottle on a Formula One car. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what goes on in your life, right?
It's election day. Everything's done today. All the partying, all the networking mixers, it's over. So get to relax the rest of this week. League of Municipalities in Atlantic City next week. Get to relax. So
thanks for donating your time to be with us here. Okay. While I've broken my back. Okay. I'll have you know I went to the chiropractor. They took a look at me. I had lower back injuries. Yeah. All right. Lower back injuries. All right. Spinal.
All
right.
Again, I broke my back.
The lower lumbar region. I don't think you really understand what that's about, man.
This early Tuesday evening here in early November, Pat thinks it's fucking January with the Scully here, as we're all.
How about it's called fashion, Uribe? Look it up instead of wearing some J. Bro Mid Carter's T-shirt over and over again until the stitches fall out. All right, you don't know anything about fashion. Why? Because you wear a suit once in a while.
Check out my Instagram. There's fashion suits are stellar.
Oh please, it's plain. It's plain. It's plain, right?
Flat suits, my man.
It's plain.
Okay.
It's plain.
There's nothing plain about $400 a pop at Express.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, half of that probably online. Expressmen outlet. The fuck out of here. Crazy.
Those don't exist, dude. Those don't exist.
Yeah, I'm sure. Made in China. They're made in China.
Well, a lot of things made in China doesn't mean they're good or not. But folks, it's Tuesday. It's after a great weekend of WWE's
respect
Crown Jewel. But we'll get to Crown Jewel review in a minute. We'll get to the news of the day. Obviously, our main event topic, and obviously for everybody tuning in today, we'll be talking about what's your favorite War Games, as the new line for War Games, Survivor Series War Games was announced last night.
War Games
by on Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about certainly Survivor Series War Games coming up on Saturday night, November the 18th. But we'll sort of go back in time and sort of relive some of our favorite War Games matches throughout the years. And I'm sure we're all going to have something to say and very differing opinions. But let's get to the news here. Big topic, guys. Just announced this afternoon, WWE announced a new broadcast home for NXT starting in October of 2024. Shout out to Eric Mutter from Wrestling Inc. Talking about that with the announcement last month that SmackDown will be leaving Fox and heading back to the USA Network in 2024. Questions obviously were emerging, not just for the futures of Monday Night Raw, but also NXT, respectively, on the same channel. Well, all speculation has ended today in a press release just distributed this afternoon. WWE announced a deal with the CW, again, for those of us in the New York area, that is Channel 11, the old WPIX, WB11 channel, starting in September of 2024. A PW insider reported earlier in the afternoon that the two sides We're in deep negotiations, so much that an announcement could have happened at any time. Now, no financial details have been disclosed thus far, but the early reports suggest that the deal would be the biggest increase for WWE NXT media rights ever in the company's history. If you all remember, the deal will mark NXT's move from cable to broadcast television, which will be a reunion between WWE and the CW, which aired SmackDown, coincidentally, from 2006 to 2008. SmackDown also aired on the CW's predecessor, UPN, when it first debuted in August of 1999. By the way, great main event there with The Rock versus Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that was my birthday.
And that's right. Oh, very nice match. Yeah. All the way up to 2006.
Patrick spoiled my birthday present. He came in the room and he told me, "Your dad got you a bike." And I was like, "What the hell?"
That's what friends are for.
Now the news comes on the heels of speculation that the CW was also entering into a relationship with the rival promotion, the National Wrestling Alliance, with both a wrestling and reality show set to air. It's unclear whether the WWE CW deal will have any potential NWA projects, but as of right now, the CW, especially in New York, CW 11 will host NXT going into next fall. Great broadcasting move. I think it's good to get them off USA, kind of let them stand on their own 2 feet on a different channel. It's a win-win for the NXT brand.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great for CW as well because they lost all their superhero market. They got rid of all of that, and I think this is a way for them to get like the sports market back, especially because professional wrestling it's a novela. So they're going to get like all the drama on that as well. I think it works out for all sides. Obviously, it's a television channel that everybody has, so it'll stay relevant to people. It's not like whatever that channel is that has TNA that literally nobody has unless you have streaming. So I think it's a really smart idea. What do you think, Jose?
Well, I think it's fantastic. I think this is an opportunity for developmental wrestlers to get known nationally. This is only going to help the product overall, and it's only going to make the transition from developmental to the main roster even easier. So I think this is awesome, and I think this is a testament to the booking of Shawn Michaels, the presentation of the superstars down there in NXT. And this only just spells more and more and more and more and more and more money for the WWE.
100%.
So yeah, fantastic move.
Yeah, definitely.
It's another. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Macho, you were saying.
No, I was just gonna say it's another, nail in the coffin because when we get the dark side of the ring on AEW eventually, this is gonna be one of the reasons why.
Oh yeah, and obviously, I was going to mention that too. Obviously, during this with the TV negotiations, we learned last week that apparently the deal broke down between HBO Max and AEW, which I think is, to Macho's point, I mean, that is an enormous nail in the coffin for a company that, let's be fair, is subjecting their fans and their customers to exorbitant pay-per-view prices every month. I mean, next weekend we have Full Gear emanating out of Inglewood, California. We have At World's End, not to be confused with a great Disney picture of the Pirates of the Caribbean, coming up on December 30th.
That is not a good Pirates movie.
At World's End.
But certainly that emanating from the world-famous Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island, you would think that, listen, these are TV deals that need to be made to get to a more mainstream audience. And again, WWE's ahead of the curve, like you guys said.
Yeah. 100%.
You know what I imagine when you just said that's really why I started laughing. You said the deals broke down between AEW and Max, and like I'm imagining Tony all coked up, like, no, this deal isn't gonna work for us. I mean, we're not gonna fucking stand for it, and he's all fucking just wired on whatever upper he's been fucking huffing like a fucking vacuum, like. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine what it was like, but look, to your point, it spells out more uncertainty for AEW. Yeah, and disaster because it's gonna end up being where most of these people are gonna pirate these fucking things. Nobody's gonna pay fucking $50 however many times a year, especially if they increase the number of shows that they're doing on pay-per-view. So it's fucking pointless,
Especially when none of their fucking talent is money. That's the problem.
Right.
Like, I'm not paying to watch MJF.
Who's this? Is Jose Manito? Oh, great. He's not here physically, but he's hearing the messages.
I love it.
Fucking part-timer. He keeps that shit up. We're going to change his name to Fernando. Jesus. Unbelievable.
But guys, listen, again, WWE ahead of the curve business-wise. Good move for them. Remains to be seen what happens with Monday Night Raw. I think, we've talked about this off the air, but there's been some rumors circulating around that TKO might want to explore Monday Night Raw on another evening. Listen, I'll tell you something, and it's very business driven. And we know what TKO and Endeavor are, and we understand that there's metrics that they look at. And I don't know, they're just maybe overreacting to what the ratings are during, between September and January when the NFL is on Monday nights. But listen, for 30 years, Raw has been institution. And I get that Pat's, more flexible about, things change and not the worst thing in the world. I just kind of look at Monday Night Raw as the name. It's the institution. It's not the worst thing in the world in terms of what's going on ratings-wise. They're still pulling in good numbers. It's Survivor Series is coming up, one of the original 4 pay-per-views. Fans get into it. Come the Rumble, the same thing. Come WrestleMania, the same thing. I'd hate to see Raw move from Monday nights, but we'll see what TKO is going to be doing with media rights. We know that SmackDown's moving to USA. I think it's a bad move by Fox, but I think somewhere I was just trying to find the article in my homework for tonight, and I think it was somewhere in Forbes where I think the CEO of Fox made it seem like maybe the ROI wasn't what he expected with SmackDown, which I think is asinine because SmackDown consistently is doing well over 2 million plus viewers every single Friday night, notwithstanding a couple of interruptions where they go to FS1 because of the World Series, maybe because of the National College Football Championships or whatever. It just seemed like it was a bad move by Fox to let that go. But I don't know the books. I don't know how they're doing financially. And maybe they didn't want to invest that money again. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Vince wanted to up the ante in terms of the licensing deal, which, Vince is a really good businessman. And as the executive chairman of WWE, obviously now under this merger, maybe the numbers are too high. But that doesn't seem to be the case because they negotiate with CW, and that seems to be, I think, a win-win again.
Mm-hmm. Didn't the ads have something to do with why SmackDown wasn't re-signed to Fox?
I've been trying to research it much. I haven't found anything definitive, but I believe that what Vince was asking for a renewal, Fox wasn't willing to meet him. I think that Fox was more than willing to give him the same dollar amount that they did in 2017 going into 2018. But I believe that Vince wanted to up the ante. And, listen, again, it's business, dude. You have a product that sells, that is bringing in record gate, record viewership, record social media engagement, record metrics. I get it. You're going to sort of not inflate, but you're going to say, well, I think I'm worth this. And if Fox doesn't think so, there's plenty of streaming channels or channels in general that will think that WWE is worth it. And clearly that's the case, right? USA under NBC Universal thought that's the case, and that's what's going to happen. Now, what happens with Raw, I don't know, remains to be seen.
Yeah.
From what I understand, a lot of the stuff that was being negotiated, a lot of it had to do with some of the advertising, because Fox had felt that the advertising that they had was a little lowbrow, and it wasn't really like people that were prone to spend money. But I think with the business model for wrestling, it's all about getting people in the building to spend money, which is why they typically have a lot of like ticket deals and stuff like that. It's all about getting the family in there and buying gimmicks. Yeah. But getting back to what Fernando said, that Monday Night Raw is an institution. If you think that Monday Night Raw cannot be moved to another night, that it can only stay on Monday, then you belong in a mental institution, because Monday Night Raw can go to any night it wants to go to. It could be Wednesday Night Raw. As a matter of fact, I hope it becomes Wednesday Night Raw, because I think it would be absolutely entertaining.
That would just be the jugular. You want the jugular. You want right to the jugular.
Well, look.
Let's be honest about it. That's what it would be.
Let's be honest about this. He's a snowman, right? What happens when the sun comes out? You know what I'm saying? Is that snowman going to hold up, or is motherfucking Frosty going to melt? What's going to happen? So if that sun's in your face, if you got that sun in your face and you're a snowman, every drip, every drop, you're gone. You know? So Wednesday night Raw, why not? Who cares? Who cares when they do it? You know? Wow. You know, who cares? Let's go. Let's do it. Wednesday Night Raw.
Macho, what do you think?
Right. I mean, I'm of the mindset that I believe that it can move just based, but I'm more of the mindset that I feel like maybe it should just move during Monday Night Football. Like maybe just during, if that's the issue, just move it to another night, kind of like the way other wrestling shows do. You know, like what I liked about
well for 30 years. I mean, before Vince relinquished control of WWE again through the corporate structure. I mean, I think he knew what he was doing, right? 30 years ago when he started Raw at the Manhattan Center. I mean,
we're looking at a new board of investors. We're looking at a completely different company. And if they want, if they feel like Monday should be gauging a broader audience, then maybe it's in their best interest to move the company to move that night to a different night, just based on we don't want to compete with the NFL. You know what I mean? Because WWE never had to worry about the NBA.
But they'll compete with the NBA and the NHL. Let's be honest. I mean, the NFL is king in North America, but the NBA 100%. And also NHL, and let's be honest, even baseball, you look at attendance, you look at the viewership because of sort of like, you know, the in-game controls, reducing the time and everything in games. I mean, there's really not one night where WWE is not going to get some competition. The NBA is as hot as it's ever been. The NHL obviously is still very hot. Again, I don't know of one night. If that, to your point, yeah, the new board of directors is looking at, well, one night would we not maybe take a hit? I get it. The NFL is the NFL. It's a Monday Night Football. But let's be honest about it. They could face competition any other night of the week.
Yeah, I think they're trying new things, man. I think that the new ownership wants to try new things. They want to see what's up. They know that it'll fucking draw, dude. Yeah, it doesn't matter what night it's on, it'll draw. It's a WWE program, it'll draw. It might even do better numbers on Wednesday. I'm really hoping for Wednesday. I would love Wednesday. Let's see.
You just want the cardiac arrest.
Well, it's not even cardiac arrest, but I mean, let's be honest. Wouldn't it make things a little bit more fucking interesting? Wouldn't it? You know?
Really. Well, not really if you got Pat, but it's not a fair fight because you got one that's a corporate giant and the other one that's a secondary promotion.
Maybe it'll make them step up their fucking shit.
I don't think they'll be around long enough.
Maybe we'll see. But I mean, at some point, it would be interesting.
That's a flat line. That would be the kiss of death. Let's be fair.
I think we'd have to wait and see, and it would just be interesting. I mean, you ask any wrestling fan if they want to see that, they'd fucking say yeah. Almost every wrestling fan would.
I think we saw what happened during that NXT Title Tuesday. Not wrestling war. It wasn't a war. It was a slaughter, ratings wise. I don't think Tony. Well, I think Tony Khan would have to reevaluate what night because there's no way. I think even though he could spin whatever he wants about what happened that Tuesday night, WWE clearly now. And I understand the marks and the AEW diehards to say, well, NXT had to pull out everybody to go on NXT. That's not the case every week. Well, again, if you put Raw on Wednesday, that's a flat line for AEW. I mean, it'd be a slaughter. It would flatline to the point where Tony Khan, his heart might explode.
It would be pretty entertaining to watch, though.
There's only so much of an intoxicant. Listen, there's only so much of an intoxicant you can consume until one of your vital organs gives out, and that's what's going to happen.
I mean, is it bad that I want to see the accident? Is it bad that I want to watch?
Well, you were probably that guy that collected the Faces of Death DVDs back in the 90s.
I couldn't get all of them. I couldn't get all
of them. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like
I only got 2, but that was it.
There you go.
It was just 2.
The monkey one was really bad.
That was brutal. That fucked me up, man.
The guy that fell from the tightrope walking.
Yeah. Oh, yes. No, but Pat, to your point, listen, you're right. It can move to any night. I just feel that we're not privy to the conversations in the boardroom and what the executive committee would say. But if it's more about, to Macho's point, well, maybe just move it during Monday Night Football. I just think that, listen, again, the NBA has marquee games almost every other night. The NHL has marquee games every other night. When baseball is on, again, baseball is not, listen, it's still fourth in North America per se, but it's still going to draw certain people. So I think moving Raw for the sake of just, let's just try it out. I don't think that's the best thing. And I'll get to your point about Wednesday night. Sure, I think it'd be funny because Tony Khan would lose his mind. And then what are the excuses going to be? Oh, Raw's 3 hours. So now we got to make Dynamite 3 hours. Jesus Christ. I think.
God, I hope not.
Yeah, exactly.
I could barely stand the 2 hours it's on right now. Oh, my God. That would be awful. I mean, but yeah, I agree with Pat that the competition would be great. They might step up their game. Maybe Tony Khan actually puts his tail between his legs and says, hey, I got to bring somebody in here that knows what the fuck they're doing. And, I have to compete or these guys are going to run me off of Wednesdays. Like Ted Turner's going to be like, hey, get this guy out of here. Like, this is terrible. They'll probably wind up hiring Vince Russo, probably finally give a job to Eric Bischoff. I think that's probably what will wind up happening.
Wouldn't that be something to sort of rehash that like 20 years later? It's crazy.
It's like a textbook death, It's like
crazy.
Yeah. Jesus.
Guys, in other news, interesting. I want to get your thoughts on this. Former WWE personality Jonathan Coachman appeared this week on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, which by the way, let me just say this about Chris.
What did you talk about the Choach?
The Choach, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I gotta tell you that I don't think Chris Van Vliet gets enough flowers for how good that show is. I think besides being an Emmy winner, besides the awards,
he's
I
awesome.
think there's a lot of good shows that don't win awards. But when you look at Chris Van Vliet, I mean, he is a guy that has never ever threaded in my humble opinion, has ever threaded the line of being a mark on the show and letting that sort of accentuate itself into the presentation of the program. I think he's a solid interviewer. He's relatable. He's likable. I think he also can make fun of himself. I think he understands his role in the pro wrestling media landscape. And I would argue that he is the best interviewer right now, other than Ariel Helwani. Even though he kind of splits his time between WWE and MMA topics, Chris Van Vliet.
You enjoyed that Helwani Chael Sonnen segment?
Well, no. What I'm saying is that Helwani again splits his time between, WWE.
Chael Sonnen got some shit going on with Masvidal now too.
Between
oh my God,
pro wrestling and MMA. I think
idiots
Chris
that are trying to fight with Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
Good for them. It's good for them.
So Chris Van Vliet, this week obviously had Coachman on, and now Jonathan Coachman is a golf announcer with the Golf Network, and also on NBC Sports Network as well. And he explained why he never envisioned. This is really interesting. He said, "quote," which I'm glad for because I think he's useless, just like Byron Saxton. More on that later. Quote: I went back to WWE in 2017, and I kind of instantly knew this is not really where I need to be, where I want to be. But it was a nice bridge between ESPN and what the next full-time thing was going to be. In my personal life, I was moving to California, so I didn't really know what I was going to do next. So I went back, and it was fun. But the people I work with on the shows, I don't know what it was, but didn't really want me to be there. So when I got switched to the pre-show host role, that was fun because that was just once a month. I had to show up, and that was cool. But then I missed some shows. This is so Vince, when they called me and they said, "Hey, we'd love for you to come back." And he said, "I'm already doing golf. I already had 5 events already booked. I'm missing the shows that week." They went, "Oh, no problem," until it was a problem. So I missed 1 show in 10 years in my first run. I missed 5 shows in the first 7 months of my second run. Coachman pointed out that WWE's business schedule at the time saw a majority of employees working 52 weeks a year. This in turn induced a sense of burnout, a lifestyle that Coachman was not in favor of. The major tipping point, however, emerged in 2020 when Coachman served as a pregame host for WWE's XFL League. He goes on to say, unlike many of his colleagues in the XFL, Coachman had established a rapport with then WWE CEO Vince McMahon, which prompted him to trust McMahon implicitly. Unfortunately for Coachman, that trust was later broken when Coachman attempted to cash a big check he had held on to for a few days. I could put the check in the bank. It bounces. So I texted a high executive at WWE and get a response. Oh, that's a lot of money. I said, I agree. Can you just call Vince? Let's take care of this quietly. No big deal. And they ghosted me. Absolutely ghosted me. Vince had the amount of money in his back pocket. It really hit me hard. It wasn't the money. It was the process. I sit there and I'll never forget. I sat there one day and said, man, they really bounced a check to me. After that, I have no desire to ever go back to WWE. You know, it's kind of funny when you hear stories like this, why he would ever disclose that publicly. I mean, A, it makes him look salty, but B, I mean, it's business. Wouldn't be the first time that Vince did something cutthroat as a businessman or any other business guy who has blood on their hands. But I don't miss Jonathan Coachman at all. I think he served his purpose a little bit during the Attitude Era and in the Ruthless Aggression Era, but it's not a guy that was make or break for me on the announcement team either.
Nope. There's nothing about Jonathan Coachman that I feel like we miss in professional wrestling, but this happened 3 years ago, and he's still complaining about it now, and he's pretty successful. He did a really good job in ESPN, and he's doing a good job with golf. I don't understand why he would need to go back and open old wounds. I think Pat says this a lot. It's almost like people are just coming out of the woodwork to do anything to disparage Vince in the WWE. Like, notice how he says, like, Vince had the money in his back pocket. Why? What's the purpose of this?
Did he? Did he actually have that amount in his back pocket?
I'm sure he did. I mean, shit, he probably had that shit in his shoe. Like, I'm sure it wasn't even that big of an amount.
Listen, man, I think that this guy is just complaining just to fucking complain, like Macho's saying. I also, I gotta say, maybe that's just how the coach is. Maybe that's just how he handles it.
Some coaches, not every coach is the same, right?
Well, I mean, some are more resilient than others.
Clearly.
Some are sturdy, durable. But I just think that he's just, he's just being the way he is, man. And it is what it is. And look, you're not the first guy that this happened to.
He's being a little roast beefy, if you think about it. He's being a little roast beefy, if you like, guys.
Well, I mean, sometimes it gets a little roast beefy, but it's not from taking a beating. It's just born that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of science that goes into it. It's not as cut and dry as some people might think it is. But that being said, I just think that, it's kind of lame. I get it. You're salty. Maybe there's other ways to handle it, but the coach did his thing. He was good. He was good at what he did. He did it for as long as he needed to. Yeah, that's it. His time was up. They got another one. They got Byron Saxton. Byron Saxton filled the void. There's a bunch of other guys that fill the void. That's it. That's what they got you to do there. Do it,
It's interesting, right? That to Macho's point and your point, Pat, that sometimes guys wait years to sort of air grievances like this. And, if he's serious about never going back, I mean, well, this is certainly not going to help his case. If he ever needs a job again, right? With TKO or Endeavor, certainly making Vince out to look greedy or whatever the underlying tone is there, certainly doesn't help, I think, when it comes to either, burying the hatchet or just moving on to your next project, which it seems like he's happy. Obviously, listen, let's be fair. I mean, it's a company that, to his point about burnout, that could be a serious thing. I mean, you're working 52 weeks a year. If you're on the announce team, you're working 52 weeks a year and sometimes multiple days a week. So it's not made up for everybody. I know that as fans, we say, man, it'd be a dream to be doing this and be doing play-by-play. Case in point, Pat and I were big Yankee fans. I'm not sure much if you are. We've never really talked about that, but we're big. Oh, there you go. Okay. I was not aware. Now I know. So, we, aside from watching it on the Yes Network, we think about, let's say, radio, right? We think about, John Sterling and Susan Wallman. They've been doing this John Sterling's been doing this for over 50 years. Over 40 years with the Yankees. And, that traveling week to week, staying in a hotel, living out of a suitcase, and that's only 6 months out of a year that you're traveling. No, I'm saying no. It is. What I'm saying is that not everyone's cut out for that. again, that's only 6 months out of the year where you're living out of a suitcase, you're traveling all the time. This is 52 weeks a year in the biggest wrestling company on the planet. And it's like you're traveling city to city. It's not always close by. You could be traveling from, Richmond, Virginia to Seattle, Washington to wherever. I mean, it's a grind. Not everyone's cut out for that. And credit people like Corey Graves, Wade Barrett, Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross all those years. I mean, it's a demanding lifestyle. It's not for everybody. So again, good for Coachman with an easier schedule, but he wouldn't be the first person to complain about burnout. He probably won't be the last one.
Yeah, I mean, most people have to work a lot.
Comes with the job, man. It is what it is, man.
Vince McMahon sleeps 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's something. Yeah, that's something that he regulates his body to do so. So, I mean, get over it, man.
Yeah.
The one thing I hate about working is when I go somewhere and I'm an employee and my boss doesn't want to do shit. And he had a boss who outworked everyone.
Yes.
His boss was willing to do anything. His boss was willing to get on his knees in the middle of a ring and piss himself. Get on his knees in the middle of a ring and kiss somebody's ass like Rikishi. Embarrass himself for the product, for the company. And you were what? You were told go out there for a 30-second segment, let The Rock make fun of you. Go out there and do commentary. Like, don't fuck it up. I mean, he just sounds like a crybaby. That's what he sounds like to me.
And again, because not everybody has that. Listen, not everybody is going to have that luxury and privilege to work in a business like that. Yeah, we all talk about it. We watch PLEs and we think we'll be good broadcasters, right? I think I could be a funny color guy. You guys could be good play-by-play guys, whatever. We always think that as fans of any sort of media or entertainment. But the people that get to do it every single week, I mean, those are professionals that, listen, they've earned their stripes. They cut their teeth. They've rolled their sleeves. Some have been at the right place at the right time. It's not for everybody. And if you can stick with it and adapt to it. Listen, I don't like Michael Cole. I think Michael Cole has been the most vanilla guy for 25 years, but he's been good at what he does. He's a good company guy. He's done what's been asked of him. And again, the grind has not gotten to him, right? And others as well.
I don't know, man. Michael Cole's great. He helped get Brian over. So
yeah, that's right.
He's okay in my book.
Sure.
Yeah, he's good, man. Coachman, though, that's on your wrong way.
Yeah.
That's on your wrong.
Pendejo, okay.
That's on your wrong way.
Well, speaking of broadcasting, and obviously guys that sometimes we don't care for, guys, this past Saturday on Peacock, Crown Jewel emanated from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And unfortunately, my little rant here for the day, unfortunately, obviously, because we all know, the country itself and how they view women. And we were subjected to Byron Saxton being the ring announcer for the entire fucking time. And if there's ever a worse person to be a ring announcer of anything with a microphone, it's Byron Saxton. So
how are you? Wait, hold on a second. Time out. How are you being subjected? Like, were you being held captive somewhere? Was somebody throwing cold water at you every hour while you had to watch it and listen to it at maximum volume?
And have that guy be the ring announcer the entire PLE.
So that broke that was like a make or break thing for you with this event because Byron Saxton was the announcer.
It was probably the most uncomfortable thing the entire time. I get it. It's Saudi Arabia. They're ass backwards, or they're not going to have Samantha Irvin on, in the ring in a full bodysuit with her amazing voice, which she's the best ring announcer in wrestling. Let's be honest. And I get it. We were subjected to Byron Saxton for fucking 3 hours, and he's horrible. He's horrible on the microphone.
Who cares?
No, I'm just.
Who cares? I mean, it's such a crappy thing to complain about. Like such a silly thing to complain about. Byron Saxton, he's
horrible.
Okay, great. Did your fucking ears bleed? Geez, you complain more than anything. Why do you even watch it?
It was unpleasant. That's all I'm saying.
Did you mute it? Did you mute it while he was talking?
Maybe
you could have done that.
Intros, yeah, which was like it was.
Would you prefer that next time they have it in American Sign Language?
I prefer to have it in America, but that's another conversation. But I get it.
And it wouldn't be Crown Jewel. Then it wouldn't be Crown Jewel.
But a great card once again. Obviously, during the kickoff show, Sami Zayn taking on JD McDonough. Great match, you know. Good. Sami Zayn, an incredible worker. JD McDonough has that Chris Benoit type of figure and physique. It's weird, you know. I really like JD McDonough.
You said his name. Dee's gonna get angry.
I know, right? You know, JD McDonough, I think, has come a long way from a guy that was, I think, always decent in NXT. Good worker. Got better with, right? Got better over time. Got better on the.
He's always been good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Devlin's always been good.
Yeah. Good match, guys. You know, between Sami Zayn and JD. Yeah, no, definitely a good match to kick off the show for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really good match. Sammy's fucking over everywhere, dude. He's just over everywhere. McDonough and him, it was really physical. It was great. McDonough's physique has gotten much bigger, dude. You can see he's got a lot more mass to him now.
Yeah, he's really like remember when Chris Benoit?
He really does.
Remember, he started juicing and he looked a little more.
Yeah, he's got that early WCW Benoit thing, but he's also got a little bit of fucking Pegasus Kid. Like, I don't know, man. He kind of reminds me of him when he was in Japan.
He's been on television television for 2 months. He's already bigger than Adam Cole. It's crazy.
Yeah,
that's pretty easy to do. But you know, look, man. Regardless of his facial deficiencies, I think that this guy's a fantastic wrestler. I think that he's been able to rise to the occasion. And
come on, don't make fun of someone's disability. Come on, don't make fun of someone's.
That's not a disability. It's not a disability. You know, Paddy is not a fucking disability.
Potential or median form of dwarfism isn't a disability.
Whoa, I'm not going that far. I just said the face,
he's
bro.
5'11",
I'm just saying the face. Yeah, he's probably taller than the both of us, stacked on top of each other. I mean, come on.
He's definitely taller.
You wear lifts already.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, you wear lifts.
I never wear lifts, my man. You are out of your mind.
Are you pulling an MJF?
You got the Ron DeSantis edition of the lifts.
Folks.
Come on,
check that vape pen on this guy. You are out of your mind. You've never seen me wear lifts, my man. You are out of your fucking mind, bro. What are they lacing? What are they lacing that shit with? You're fucking adjusting, bro.
I'm just saying, no, because I thought I seen you with the lifts the one time.
Yeah, the one time. You've never seen me with lifts, my man. Okay,
you're like Men in Black, bro. That you got the outfit that it's the regular you.
Yeah,
there's a little Fernando with the regular size head, and he comes out.
All right. Sorry, wrong guy.
All right. But anyway, the point is, JD McDonough, fantastic talent. Really gotten his physique together, bro. This is a dude that I, quite frankly, really give too much of a shit about.
No, I do not wear lifts, D. Go back and shave that Amish beard, for God's sake.
Yo, I'll text you later, bro. Don't worry about it. But listen, enough about it, all right? Fernando doesn't wear lifts. All right, guys? Come on, let it go. You know?
It's like a
I don't have pictures
show.
or anything, and nobody could fucking text me about it. But listen, respect, all right? I'm Jose Manito, bro. I know what I'm talking about. But JD McDonough, bro, yo, like I wasn't really interested in this guy. I thought he was kind of meh, you know, and now he's fucking interesting. And he's really fitting into this role with the Judgment Day.
Guys,
he's having fantastic matches.
Let's be honest, this is 2023 Sami Zayn into the bloodline, almost. Not the comical aspect of joining the faction, but it's almost like the equivalent of it to some extent.
Yo, am I the only one that gets Team Hell No vibes between JD and Damian?
I could see them do a lot of different things. That could be a possibility. That certainly could be a possibility. But I just think for a guy who kind of on the surface early on, you know, when he started kind of fucking with them and getting involved with that angle, it kind of looked a little like, you know, they're trying to get the Irish guy in there because he's Finn's boy and blah, blah, blah. But then, like, little by little, he really started to, like, become more and more interesting. And you always knew that he had the fucking goods in the ring, but it was just a matter of finding that thing that made him compelling or interesting. And I feel like he's starting to kind of tap into that. But Judgment Day as a whole is just a shit. They're the fucking best right now.
The best. Man. This is better than... I think the Judgment Day right now at its peak is better than anything with the Bloodline that I can remember.
No. Let's not get there yet. But I think that this is starting out really, really well because it's still very early on with them, man. The Bloodline, bro.
Was mostly Roman, though.
it's mostly Roman, but they don't have anybody in that group that really generates those kind of numbers, if we're being honest. And that's no knock to the fucking Judgment Day.
If we're talking about numbers, then you're absolutely right. But in terms of just what we're watching on television, it's just much more compelling to me. I've never really been a big fan of Sami Zayn.
Guys, I disagree. You go back to the fall of 2022, going into Survivor Series War Games, and the Bloodline with Sami Zayn against the Brutes and Kevin Owens and McIntyre. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was still good. It was very compelling, the storyline about going into that War Games match. I think you can almost you could try to replicate that this year, but I don't think it's going to come close though.
The Bloodline's been really, really good, man. I mean, I don't even want to compare Judgment Day to it. I really, really don't, because I feel like Judgment Day is great in its own fucking right, and it's doing something that's just as good, but not really what the Bloodline would. Because think about everything that came from the Bloodline. Think about all the storylines, all the feuds that stemmed from it. It's crazy. But JD McDonough, man, fucking doing a bang up job, bro. And this was a really fucking good match, man.
No, definitely. Moving on in the card again, no particular order. Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest, really compelling, great storytelling. Obviously, you saw the dynamics in there with the Judgment Day, obviously, and Cody's amazing. I mean, the reception he gets anywhere on the planet, great talker. And again, I said this before, I think on a previous show about Damian Priest. To think how far this guy has come from where he was in the indie scene, going into NXT, winning the North American Championship, then teaming with Bad Bunny in 2021 in Tampa during WrestleMania against The Miz and John Morrison, what he's done since then, holding the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship, certainly turning heel, being with the Judgment Day. I think that you've got to look at a guy like Damian Priest in the last 5 years. Holy shit. You're talking about a guy who was good in the indies and how he's elevated himself. Good talker. Being a heel suits him a lot better than being a face, in my opinion. But that's just me, guys.
Yeah. They've transitioned his character too. By allowing him to be bilingual on screen, I think it's actually added depth to his character, because when he was just Damian Priest in NXT and when he was the babyface, he was just one specific way. Then they realized that the Bad Bunny stuff actually helped further him along. And now you could tell, like when he yells at JD McDonough and he does it in Spanish, I feel like people, they vibe with that. They're like, yeah, man, that's like my abuelo or my dad yelling at me like that. It's definitely like added depth to his character. And obviously the will they, won't they with the Senor Money in the Bank and everything. Yeah. He's definitely been super interesting. I actually wasn't the biggest fan of this match. I feel like Cody's work these past 2 months has been kind of sloppy. Like just watching him compared to what he did with like Lesnar and Rollins, I just feel like even the way he's doing the Cody cutter and it looks like it's unsafe for him landing. There are just certain things I'm watching Cody Rhodes do, and I'm thinking, like, why? When he's taking German suplexes and he puts his arms in the wrong direction to land, like, I just don't understand. Like, is the purpose of him to, like, elongate his career? Is he trying to get injured again? I mean, obviously he's not trying to get injured again, but I'm just watching him right now thinking, like, this isn't the same Cody that we got. I don't know if he's just getting complacent. Maybe he's just holding it all in, getting ready for to lose again at WrestleMania this year. I don't know.
I gotta agree with you. I've been a fan of Cody's work lately. I think he's just been fantastic. The character work, everything. He's super over with the fans. This match wasn't really as good as it could have been. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't exactly terrible, but definitely wasn't the kind of quality of match that I expected from these two. But hey, it happens, man. They're humans, sometimes they're off, we don't know what other situations there might have been. Maybe they might have fucking, not shown up to the building on time. Who knows? Jet lag, anything. There's a lot of different things to consider. But yeah, definitely wasn't his best outing, but I mean, he's still just so fucking over that he can have these moments and he can still bounce back and be a great performer and do his thing like he did this past week on Raw. So yeah, I mean, not the best match, but definitely something good.
Yeah.
Why does Damian Priest dress like a dominatrix gimp? Because you raided your closet. That's why.
This dude can't spell normal names right, but he can spell dominatrix right.
Of course. What kind of porn you think he's into?
Hey, in another match that, and to me, I have not taken this much delight in watching a beatdown of John Cena since SummerSlam of 2014 when he faced Brock Lesnar. I was just so delighted to see Solo Sikoa just pound this guy into the ground. I was delighted to see that. Again, nothing will ever beat the absolute just slaughter in 2014 at SummerSlam when Lesnar just beat him to a pulp. And I watch that match regularly once a month just because I enjoy seeing Cena getting decimated. I almost enjoyed this match. Not as much.
You should see someone about that, bro.
What's that?
You should see someone about that.
No, I'm good. It was just good to see Solo Sikoa just pummel him, and I love seeing Solo get the W here.
Yeah, I agree. I was trying to go back and look through John Cena's history in WWE. I don't think he's put anybody over the way he just put over Solo. There's not a single person that I can find, and you guys fact check me if you want, where he actually did the job the way he did for Solo. He made that kid. This kid is set for life. If they keep moving him in the right direction, they're always going to point this match out. Always.
Well, this is a textbook example of what the greatest of all time does. John Cena came in, elevated this kid.
Yeah.
Changed the perception of him. Now you have another star right there, courtesy of the John Cena, the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
He can ride off into the sunset. He can write his own story because that's what you can do when you're the greatest of all time.
Right up into the sunset. Good. Please.
Fernando, I gotta say, it's a testament to the greatness of John Cena that you still hate him this much.
Yep.
Okay, because that's how good he is at his job. That he can make you love him or hate him or both.
Well, I've never loved him, so
okay.
it's not. Yeah,
he could do one or the other. He could do one or the other. Okay, that's how polarizing John Cena is. All right, a legend,
sure.
the greatest of all time.
You think he's better than Sean, as it says here in the chat?
No,
the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time.
Oh, gate, merch, metric, sure. Not worker.
The greatest of all time.
Okay, well, all right. I think context is important, right? Isn't context king, ladies and gentlemen?
The greatest of all time.
Okay, well,
I suppose. I mean, that's what they're calling him in the company. So
John Cena.
Okay.
Real American hero.
Hey, listen, if that's
he was a Marine.
If that's what they want to push in the narrative, in the announcement, that's great. If that's what
they're not pushing a narrative.
If that's what's
they're just stating facts.
If that's what's fed into the ear set for Michael Cole and everybody else.
Nobody's feeding anything into anybody.
Oh, really?
No, it's just facts.
John Cena. Announce him as that now.
John Cena, greatest of all time.
Samantha Irvin said the greatest of all time, John Cena.
Okay.
That's what they're doing.
That's completely instinctual. Like that's not coming from a directive from anybody. Okay.
Why wouldn't it be?
I mean, no, I'm saying that's what they are having people say now.
Nobody's having anybody say anything. It's just a fact. They're stating a fact. John Cena, greatest of all time.
Yes, he's the greatest at merch and metrics and gate and make wishes. And I get all that. That's fine. But not working. I mean, unless I'm missing something else.
Really? Not working? Not working. Look at how worked up you just got when I said he's the greatest of all time. Look at how worked up you just got. Okay, that's proof right there that he's a great worker. That's proof that he's the greatest of all time.
Not the greatest in-ring worker of all time. He's just not. There's nothing you could. There's no argument you can provide that's compelling.
No. You couldn't even work his squashes. Okay, you couldn't even lace his boots. All right. Those sneakers that he wore. You couldn't put on his jorts.
You can't even say with a straight face.
You couldn't put on his jorts. All right? You can't see him.
I don't want to
Greatest
put on
of all
shorts.
time, John Cena.
I don't want to put on his shorts. I'm in my 40s too. I'm not going to wear denim
Jorts,
Yeah,
not
well,
shorts. Jorts.
Well, I'm in my 40s. You don't do that. Grown man wearing jorts. Yeah, you don't do that in your 40s. But
where is that fucking written?
I don't know. I mean,
where's that fucking written?
I don't know. You shouldn't be wearing that in your 40s.
What fucking 40s for dummies? It's written in.
I'm just saying.
You can wear whatever the fuck you want to wear, whenever the fuck you want to wear it.
There isn't a soul on here that believes that you don't wear jorts.
I don't. I really don't. I wear cargo
You don't put on Jordans and jorts. You don't put on sunglasses, and then for the cherry on top, you don't put on a Cowboys jersey every Sunday.
As a matter of fact, no, actually, I don't really wear jerseys as much anymore. I just, for the record,
that's the national cowboy uniform right there.
No,
Jorts,
I get that.
Jordans.
No, I wear my bitch. I'm a Cowboys fan shirt just to annoy people, and I wear cargo shorts, beige with ankle socks and Nikes. That's it. I wouldn't say I don't wear. I do not wear jean shorts. I'm in my 40s. You don't do that. You don't do that. You don't wear that anymore.
Where is that written though?
What's that?
Where is it written?
Well, I'm not going to take fashion tips from Pat, who wears Hawaiian shirts. Still, I mean, I'm not going to take fashion tips.
I'm adventurous.
What's wrong with Hawaiian shirts?
I'm adventurous with my style. I'm not
the greatest movie character of all time wore Hawaiian shirts.
Many great people wear Hawaiian shirts.
That's great. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah, but nobody greater than
you're very bland with your style, man. You're very bland.
You live in New Jersey. You don't live in Tallahassee, Florida.
Doesn't matter where the fuck I live. I could wear whatever the fuck I want. That's it. I could dress like a fucking giant chicken if I want to. I really don't give a shit.
They might ask you to do that eventually in town. We all have to do that sometimes, right?
I might for this show. I just might. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if Vince McFamcast buys me a chicken suit.
But greatest in-ring worker of all time? No. Sorry. There's no.
That's not what they're saying.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Fernando thinks John Cena isn't the greatest in-ring worker of all time. There you go.
But the idea that it's not coming from a directive to just push that and push that and push that. Come on, guys. We know what's fed into the head.
Yo, do you have the plans to the Death Star too? Do you have that too?
It was on Scarif.
I'm just trying to figure out like what other conspiracies you got. Because you might have the plans to the Death Star. If you believe that they're being fed that John Cena is the greatest of all time, then you believe in other conspiracies too, right?
So nothing comes from the gorilla position into what's fed at times. In some instances, not at times.
Nothing's coming from the gorilla position, the missionary position, doggy style, nowhere. They all know that John Cena is the greatest of all time. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
So I'm imagining all these podcasters and ex-wrestlers saying that, from gorilla, they're not fed things through their headset, right? Like Vince never fed that into people's headsets.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
What's that?
Have you seen it with your own eyes?
I will.
Do you believe everything you hear on the internet?
No, certainly not. No, of course not. No.
Okay.
But with established people in the business that are going to disclose that, which have nothing to lose by disclosing it to begin with.
Polar Nights, thanks. We love you too.
Just saying, Pat. Just making that observation. But moving on in the card, again, just great seeing John Cena get destroyed in the match. For the coveted WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky defended against challenger Bianca Belair, and another great match.
Hell yeah.
Two great workers.
Phenomenal. Not as good as the Backlash match, but it was very good, though.
The future ex-wife, Io Sky, looked amazing. Bianca Belair, great worker. Interesting seeing the return of Kairi Sane. I know had been rumored that a return was imminent.
Sky Pirates, baby.
Yeah, great way to sort of insert her into the match, create that disbelief. Maybe there's some dissension within Damage Control with Bayley I know Pat was loving the full body suits there, obviously, in certain instances.
You know, I just want to say that I thought all the women looked fantastic. I think they looked absolutely stunning. Sensational.
Stunning. 100%.
That's
sensational.
Fine. Great match. Great way to create this belief that Damage Control could be disintegrating. Who knows? You have to love the marks online that just immediately jump to the narrative of, well, with Kairi Sane joining and helping EO, oh, maybe they turn on Bailey. Maybe Bailey needs a partner. Oh, maybe that'll create an opportunity for someone to come back. I don't see that happening. That's another argument. But great match though between Io Sky and Bianca Belair.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't think that AJ Lee is coming back, Fernando. People need to hang that up already. But all in all, I thought it was a good match. I thought all the girls looked great. Great to have Kairi Sane back. The best elbow drop in the business. Can't wait to fucking see her back on TV.
100% agree. Great match. Loved watching Bailey try to get in the ring. Definitely enjoyed the match itself. Bianca is otherworldly, and whenever she misses any time and then she comes back and works, we are, it's like we're reminded how good she is. Bianca's a special talent, obviously Io being as good as she is normally, but I'm looking forward to the story of Damage Control. I want to know what happens now. And, that's what wrestling is supposed to do, is leave you with questions. I have questions. So I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely. For the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship, champion Rey Mysterio defended against the social media influencer, the megastar Logan Paul. Great match. And a shout out to Logan Paul. There was a moment in the match where having just great ring awareness really preventing what could have been something catastrophic for Rey Mysterio. So great match, great finish. Starts to set up the belief maybe of a Santos Escobar turn.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? Maybe, what will happen with the Latino World Order. But listen, Logan Paul, 8 matches in, and he gets it. Great, very good athlete. I think he's a better pro wrestler than a boxer. I think his brother's the better boxer in the family, but that's just my opinion. Great match. I think Logan Paul helps elevate the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship with it. And obviously, he's a guy that gets social media engagement, metrics. Yeah. He's a global name. I think a win-win and listen, no knock on Ray. It was great to put the title on him. Maybe one last run in a main event type of spotlight for the Hall of Famer. Not the worst loss in the world for Rey Mysterio. He can keep losing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt his stock. He's iconic. And I think the sky's the limit for Logan Paul.
Yeah. I think it's a way to get the title to movie premieres, to Impulsive. I mean, yeah, it was, I don't know. The match itself was okay. I didn't expect too much from these two because I feel like Logan needs to work someone around his size. But that spot and him saving Ray from falling, I mean, that's a vet thing right there. And that definitely showcased his ability to think on the fly. But, what I realized is I don't think fans are unhappy with this. There's no marks crying on the internet that he's the U.S. champ. I think people kind of wanted this to happen. And that worries me because the whole point is to get heat. I don't think he's catching any heat right now. I think people are happy he's the U.S. champ. So how long does he keep the title? Because if people are happy, I don't think that's in the plan. I think they kind of need him to be the heel. Either way, he's dropping that to like LA Knight at WrestleMania probably. So,
yeah, I thought it was a really solid match, man. I thought every time Logan Paul's out there, dude, he's just better and better each time. As far as him and his brother go, I think they both should be in wrestling. They both should be involved in the business. And I think that they would both be excellent heels. They're not really great boxers. That's a whole niche entertainment fucking market. And they've done well with it. Don't get me wrong, but I think that the both of them would be really, really good in the wrestling business as a tag team. Maybe a stable with them and Austin Theory, which I keep lobbying for in case anybody's ever listening. But Logan Paul's awareness, man, just everything that this guy does in the ring, the way he moves, like it's crazy, dude. This guy moves like a vet. And I think, he has the right support system around him to help him grow. And I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of Logan Paul in the future. But, to Macho's point, I think him and LA Knight for the United States title would be a really, positive step for him. But more on that later.
Again, great match. And again, the sky's the limit for Logan Paul. We're going to see how they present him as the U.S. champion. I think what's great about Paul, though, guys, is that less is more. And there's not a need to put on Logan Paul every single week. I think he, too, has become an attraction. I think because of his status globally and what he represents, I think it's not the worst thing in the world. I know some marks online say, oh, well, now the U.S. title won't be defended on TV as much. Because he's not on TV as much. I don't think that's a bad thing per se. I think picking and choosing these moments when Logan Paul appears on television, I think is a smart business move. It can too much to be bad for that brand, but that's me.
This is what's so fucking corny about marks sometimes, that they have like these unwritten rules about wrestling that the title has to be defended at every fucking TV show, and he's got to be there and he's got to come out and do something and say something and this and that, and like, you don't understand how fucking building an attraction fucking works. You people don't know anything about this. Like, yo, when he's on, he's on. And when he's on, it's fucking good.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay? I could understand if it sucked and they hyped it up this much and they did all this promotional work for it and it's a fucking flop, but it's not a flop. The dude has delivered every single fucking time.
100%.
He's a star, man. Like even these people complaining about Roman's title defenses, bro. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Who cares how many fucking times he defended it? Who gives a shit? He's drawn ratings. He's been entertaining, and he's always delivered every fucking single time he's shown up. And guess what? You're getting fucking worked because they know that marks complain about this shit, and they're doing it on purpose to keep you coming back for fucking more.
We'll save the Roman talk for after we.
Yeah. Obviously, the Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley going up against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, and the South Jersey down the shore soccer mom, twice divorced, Newport smoker, Zoe Stark. Great match.
The MVP of the match, you mean?
Yes, MVP of the match, without question.
Zoe Stark, she was the entire reason this match flowed as well as it did.
Yes, absolutely. And Rhea, again, retaining, not a surprise there. I think the way they're just elevating Rhea Ripley, I think, is amazing going into what we believe will be that big show in Australia in February for Elimination Chamber, that PLE. Great match. And to Macho's point, Zoe Stark helped contribute to a lot of the fluidity in that match for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, she was really good. I really like that we continue to tease this whole Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez being like a massive feud for years to come, because just watching them slap the shit out of each other, it just warms my heart. Just big women just beating each other down was real fucking nice.
Yeah,
enjoyed that.
I thought it was a really good match. I thought everybody got their shit in. Everybody looked like competitive. They looked like they had a chance in the fucking match. The psychology of the match was fucking solid. And man, Rhea could just wear anything and she looks great. Even in the full body outfit, she still looked amazing. And what a performer, what a fucking talent. We're obviously heading in the direction for Elimination Chamber, which is probably going to be a big match. Perhaps it could be her and Becky, maybe the first time that happens. Maybe we get a second match at Mania. We don't know.
I think the way they're pushing to keep Becky away from the title right now, I think that's a Mania match.
It could be a Mania match, but they could have that first match at Elimination Chamber, unless they want to give her moment at Elimination Chamber and just have her win the Chamber match itself, like in dominant fashion, which that would be cool. And they could put her in the main event. But
So,
who knows?
So are we hypothesizing that Becky could win the Rumble, but could face her maybe at the Chamber match, or
that Rhea will win the Chamber match?
I don't know, man. Because here's the thing: you have two titles. You know, you have two women's titles. So one is going to be the Rumble winner, and the other one's going to be whatever fucking match you probably have, which will be the Elimination Chamber match. So you got to think that Rhea is going to be in Australia defending it.
Because that hasn't happened in a while. Because I think it's only been like maybe a handful of times where the Chamber match winner has been the other challenger for the other title on the other brand, right? Like for a lot of years, we saw some instances where like the Chamber winner would get the title shot,
right?
Like last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's interesting if they do that with either Becky winning the Chamber and getting a title match, or if Becky wins the Rumble. Who knows? I mean, obviously a lot can go on between now and January to the Rumble in Tampa, but certainly having those back-to-back PLEs, I think, is going to be interesting in the sense of how you coordinate it. Does the Chamber match just include the champion Rhea Ripley, or just the Chamber match just establish the number one contender for the other women's title that's not being challenged by the Rumble winner? I don't know if I'm making sense the way I just said it.
I don't know, man. It depends, because it's like, what are you going to do with Becky until then? Obviously, you're going to think Becky's going to feud with Xia Li. They're going to make Becky look really tough. Like, Becky's going to look, she's going to get a lot more intense, I think, like her character work and shit, because they're going to have to build up to her match with Rhea where like it actually makes fucking sense. So you're going to see like a tougher side, I think, with her and her storytelling. But I think personally, you got to have Rhea defend the fucking title in the Elimination Chamber. What bigger, fucking better way to do it? The stakes are high. The fans are emotionally invested. It's going to be fucking awesome. You know, that's your main event right there.
Yep.
You know, it's interesting, though. I mean, thinking about that PLE, and we're still months away from it. Just a reminder, you know, that'll be at 6 a.m. Eastern time. It's kind of funny for a lot of people on the East Coast, right? That'll be wanting to get up.
I'll be up.
Oh, I'll be up as well. I'll certainly get up and watch it.
Yeah, same here.
Probably.
I get up around that time to watch the Premier League, so I'm going to be up anyway.
Now, is that a Saturday into Sunday, or is that Friday into Saturday? I haven't looked at the calendar. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Neither have I.
Yeah, okay. Me neither. And Dee's not here.
Dee, I know you're watching. Be productive. Besides trimming that Amish beard, look that up for the next show, please, Dee. Thank you, Dee. I appreciate that. For the World Heavyweight Championship, the coveted World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins defended against Drew McIntyre. Knockdown dragout. Interesting about
match of the night.
Certainly the match of the night, without question. Great match, great workers. We know what Rollins brings to the ring. McIntyre, I think, has had a lot of good matches this year, right? From the triple threat match at Mania against Gunther and Sheamus. McIntyre's been great, you know, and it's one of those things where the marks go crazy. Oh, look at all these missed opportunities. You know, he didn't beat Lashley at WrestleMania in 2021 in a stadium. He lost to Roman at Clash of the Castle in Wales, and now he lost another big match, a title match in another big show. Like, what are they doing?
Story.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, what are they doing with Drew McIntyre? The marks are losing their minds, but great storytelling in that match nonetheless.
Are you insinuating that Drew McIntyre is not as good a worker as Seth Rollins?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is that
you gave a lot of flowers to Seth Rollins, and you said that Drew McIntyre was really good this year, and I was thinking, like, he's been good his entire career.
Oh, no, Rollins has been great his entire career, and so is McIntyre. No, absolutely. I don't disagree with a minute.
No, I was just curious. The way you phrased it, I guess, made it seem like you weren't a big fan of Drew McIntyre. And I just wanted to ask, what would make you think he's not that good? I think he's stellar, especially being the size that he is. He's just a really good worker. But I think at this point, Drew McIntyre not winning the big one in front of the stadium crowd, I think it's become a part of the story now. It's the story being told to us on television.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at some point, you know, there's going to be a big turn with him, you know, and he's going to snap and he's going to become super unhinged. This is just character development right now. They're two talented guys. Yeah, it was definitely the match of the night for me. And, you know, Seth, man, continues to just put in great shifts over and over again. Had a little exchange on X with Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay was, I think he had said something complimentary about the match, and Seth had responded and said, "The water's warm over here." And it was something to that effect. So, who knows, man? Maybe at some point we could see that matchup. But I think 2024 is going to be very interesting year. Obviously, they're talking about one bidding war for a while, right? You got to think that the bidding war for Will Ospreay is going to be the bidding war of 2024, because wherever
that's the one that matters. I believe that there are 3 potential free agents in 2024. 2 of them matter and 1 of them doesn't. And the 2 that matter are Will Ospreay and Julia. And the one that doesn't is MJF, because nobody cares where that kid goes.
Ooh, hot take by Mach tonight. Ooh.
Julia is definitely going to end up with WWE, because they've done really well with Joshi's, and you got to think that she's going to want to go there. She probably knows a lot of the girls there too. So that's going to be excellent. And I think wherever she goes,
already
she's
fantasy performer. Julia versus Rhea Ripley. That's going to be phenomenal.
I mean, dude, the women's division, like the rich keep getting richer. It's just like they're just putting together such a phenomenal roster.
In a year and a half, when Britt Baker is in WWE,
I don't think she's going to be in WWE. Nah, man. I think that ship sailed, pal. I don't know, man. I don't see it. They had an opportunity. Who knows what she's going to be like in a few years. It's interesting to speculate.
You mean like once Vice airs the Rise and Fall of AEW on Dark Side of the Ring? I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Did my man's just reference the wedding singer over here with Julia Gulia? Yes, he did. Julia Gulia, wife of Glenn Gulia.
Yeah.
But
and obviously in the main event for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the greatest of all time, Roman Reigns, took on LA Knight, and I gotta say, listen, it's interesting the way CBS Sports described this sort of like the analysis here. CBS Sports wrote, quote, "Knight is WWE's biggest success story this year. Saddled with a terribly male modeling manager gimmick upon his main roster debut, Knight has flourished since then, reverting to his NXT persona. Knight is getting some of the loudest crowd reactions these days, and he teamed with John Cena to defeat Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa at Fastlane. Knight has shined in verbal altercations with Reigns on SmackDown, and went on to take on Roman Reigns in one of the better matches of the evening." Listen, I like seeing that pop he got. We all know the pop Roman gets. It was a good match. I know you guys as workers will probably disagree with me. I thought it was a good match. I think we all.
I think me and Pat are going to disagree on this here.
Okay.
I enjoyed this match. I don't think he came out looking like a megastar. Like, I think that's what people wanted. But I actually enjoyed this match. But Roman Reigns is in my personal top 5 all time. So it's really hard for me, and I mean that wholeheartedly. It's really hard for me to find a match that Roman has that I don't like. So I don't know if I'm being objective here. I don't know if I'm actually like, oh, this match was good because they both played their part, or if Roman is just Roman. He's just that good to me.
Would you say that this is one of the best matches in his entire run?
For Roman?
Yeah. Would you say that this is up there with some of the best matches in his entire run?
It's no.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that you have to think about it says no.
No, okay? I didn't think about it. I told you no.
It's not a good match. It was
as good as the Sammy match.
I don't think so. I think the Sammy match was better. The Sammy match was better. The Sammy match was hotter. This match was okay. It was okay, and it didn't need to be okay. It needed to be very good.
Well, Pat, I think it was a good match. I know you'll disagree. I know the marks have gone crazy.
Well, of course. And what was it that you read before? You read that thing. What was it? It sounded like an obituary what you were reading.
No, it's
it's an obituary for a career and a promise as a main eventer.
But again, we had this talk over the weekend. this is not going to kill LA Knight's presence on television. He's still
I think it's over.
What's that?
I think it's over.
I don't think it is.
I think it's over. I think the jig is up. I think he's been exposed. He's been exposed on television twice by two of the greatest talkers.
Okay, well, if the rumor's true that it's going to be Logan Paul and LA Knight at Mania for the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship, then okay, well then clearly they're still thinking of him as someone that they want to put in.
I mean, yeah, why not? Fucking give him a shot in the arm now. Have him work with Logan Paul. You know, that'll help him. But I think it's over. I think they've told their audience what they think of this guy. They think he's a fanboy. They think he's an Attitude Era fanboy. That's what they've said. So it's over for this guy. It's over. Enjoy that T-shirt. Maybe in like 10 years you could sell it for like $500 on eBay.
So you think that Knight won't be on SmackDown for the foreseeable future?
He'll be on SmackDown. He'll be on SmackDown. But I think he'll get some type of reaction because he has crowd interaction, right? He's good with that. He gets people to chant along and play along with his name and all that stuff. Okay. But at the end of the day, what you see is what you get, and that's it. You're not getting anything else out of this guy. It's one-dimensional. It's one-dimensional.
Yeah, but anyone who's being intellectually honest never thought he was a main eventer to begin with. I didn't think he was a main eventer to begin with. Again, if you're being intellectually honest,
you didn't think for 1 second that this guy had potential to be a main eventer at all.
I thought that at least if the popularity continued and the merch sales were what they were or what they're being reported, and he's getting that crowd interaction, social media engagement, whatever, I thought, listen, I would make the argument that maybe, hey, he could be the guy that they might want to put up against Rollins. That's not the case. That's not the case, clearly. And it's not going to be the case. And that's okay. I'm intellectually honest enough to admit that I didn't think this guy was going to be main eventing night one against Rollins. We all know, unless some catastrophe happens or some natural disaster, in 2 weeks in Chicago, I think we all kind of know what to expect, what's going to happen in Chicago, who's going to return in Chicago, and that's going to be the name that challenges Seth Rollins. Having said that, I don't think now all of a sudden Knight's going to lose fans and they're not going to cheer him. I think he's still over. Now, again, him challenging whoever he's going to challenge in the foreseeable future, we're going to see. But the idea that this is not Elias, this is not Zack Ryder, okay? Those are guys, again, Elias was never put in a main event title picture with anybody. And I'll hang my hat on this. Elias was over.
But Damien Sandow was.
What's that?
Damien Sandow was. He's in the vein of a Damien Sandow as well.
Damien Sandow, well, I'll say this.
He won the Money in the Bank and he wrestled John Cena in the main event.
Okay. And what happened after that?
He became a stunt double.
Okay. And that
was good character work. That was good character work.
That wasn't a downgrade.
But he eventually faded out. He eventually faded out, man.
Faded out, yeah.
I just disagree with Pat that he's just going to fade out now. I think fans will still be behind him. Again, no one's saying that he's going to just, again, I never thought he was a main eventer in the sense of, hey, okay.
I think you're fibbing. I think there's a part of you that thought that he was going to be a main eventer. I think there was a part of you that had him in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 taking on Seth Franklin Rollins. I bet that there was a part of you that was thinking that.
If the popularity was continuing and he was still
getting
the
heel in that
and getting good engagement, getting good metrics. Okay, I said I'll make the argument that, hey, maybe that's a guy that you could elevate there, but that's not going to happen because we all know inevitably, if the rumors are true, that some guy born in Chicago is going to step in and he's the guy challenging Rollins, and that's okay. I'm not heartbroken about it. I understand the way the pecking order works and what's going to sell. Seth Rollins and CM Punk is a hell of a bigger draw than LA Knight and Seth Rollins. I'm at least intellectually honest enough to admit that some fans are.
Why do you keep comparing LA Knight to people like CM Punk, though?
No. What I'm saying is that if marks online were rallying behind him and saying, hey, you know what? If he continues with this popularity, he maybe could be the guy that headlines Mania night 1 against Rollins, vis-a-vis maybe winning the Rumble. That's not the case. That's not going to be the case because we know, again, unless something happens contractually or we don't know, that CM Punk is going to be that guy. Okay, if LA Knight is on the card night 1 challenging Logan Paul for the US title, that's the ceiling, and I'm okay with that as a fan of his. Okay, but the idea that I listen, you can go back and watch the replays. D, as you're trimming your Amish beard, go back and watch the replays. I never once said that I think, I said there's a possibility it could. I think if he keeps getting these pops and this engagement in social media and merch, he could be. But I never once for a second thought, hey, listen, this is a guy who's definitely a main. I never said he's definitely a main eventer. I'll die on a hill on that one. I never said that, and I'll stick by it. At least as a fan, I understand what he is, but I also don't think he's going to fade out. He's not Elias. He's not Zack Ryder. He's not Damian Sandow. He's just not. The numbers don't tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Now, is that Mach agreeing with me, or is that Mach saying, okay, Fernando, that's your opinion?
I mean, like I said, I enjoyed this match more than I guess Pat did. But I don't think he fades out this quickly. I just don't think he does anything special, like wins the Rumble or anything like that. I mean, he could, but no. I think the plan is him and Logan Paul.
He'll fill a spot. He'll fill a spot. Hey, like to quote Cal Naughton, ain't nothing wrong with silver. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with silver.
I just think Pat's, thinking that his demise is imminent. That's not going to happen. It's just not. I just think the engagement is still there for him, and I think he still has a following.
If you think so,
okay, all right,
it's done.
Cool.
I mean, listen, I'll save this episode, and in January, come Rumble time or come Mania season, we'll see. And if he's still
what? So then, what do you want? You want a fucking Oreo if that happens?
No,
I don't know.
I'm not saying an Oreo.
I want Oreos.
I don't like. I mean, but again, I think that deep down, guys, let's shave the apple to its core a little bit. I think that there's an element of PBR that doesn't like what Knight represents in terms of the Marks rally behind him. He's the flavor of the month, and I think there's an element to Pat that enjoyed seeing Roman get the win. Which, by the way, Marks.
But I knew Roman was going to win. There was no fucking surprise. I mean, come on.
It's funny about this meme circulating now online. I'll read this. I'm sure you guys have seen it too. So, WrestleTales this weekend said Roman Reigns has only had 37 title defenses, excluding house shows / dark, in his 1,150 plus days reign as champion. Out of those 37 defenses, he won 17 matches cleanly, 19 matches by cheating, and he only lost to Seth Rollins by disqualification. I just think it's really funny, the narrative that Marks are taking online now because of this, which I don't think really kills him because he's still such an incredible draw. So, again, the Marks are going to jump on this bandwagon with this narrative, but I think there's an element of Pat that was like, hey, good, I'm glad he lost. The Marks are going to seethe and just be disappointed.
No. I'm not. Listen, I'm not that type of person. All right, I'm not that type of person. All right. Come on, I resent that. I resent that. All right, just because you enjoyed watching John Cena suffer, which, by the way, you should get some help for that, doesn't mean that I enjoy seeing Mark suffer. I'm not that kind of person, man. All right, I'm advocating for peace in the Middle East here, dude. I'm not that kind of guy.
We have a show called Working the Marks. That's how we think.
It's a fun show name. It's tongue in cheek.
I know. I know.
That's all it is. We just having a little fun. That's all. I mean, but come on, man. You think that I like to see Mark suffer? No, man. That's not me, man. That's not me.
Mach, you buying this?
Yeah, I do.
I'm a vegan, dude. Come on. Why would I do that? You know?
I can't wait to watch the internet burn to the ground the day after Survivor Series when CM Punk doesn't join the War Games match and it's Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
But guys, quick disclaimer. Wasn't it announced yesterday it's only 4-on-4?
Yeah.
They just said War Games. We don't know, but I think Drew's going to join the Judgment Day.
They said 4-on-4 yesterday. They said 4-on-4 yesterday, but yeah, Drew joining the Judgment Day does make sense.
And then Randy Orton joining Cody. makes sense too.
Yeah. Randall Keith Orton coming back and doing that.
See,
that's our Puerto Rican brother, bro.
Yeah,
I just thought it was the 4-on-4. That was official, but you're right. Maybe it could change.
Did you know that, Uribe, that Randy Orton's Puerto Rican?
I was not aware. Wow. Okay. Oh.
By injection.
Okay, whatever that means. All right. All right.
Well, I mean, he's married to a Puerto Rican woman, so figure it out.
But she's not injecting him. He's injecting her.
We don't know. It's 2023. We have no idea.
Oh God, let's do our show from the East Village next week, folks. I might as well. Okay, wow. That's never been verbalized to me in my adult life that way. But Mach, I love you. Thank you, Mach.
2023, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Live and let live, bro. You know.
Yeah.
Is this Vanessa and Wade Wilson where they were talking about having a baby?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. International Women's Day. We don't know. We don't know what happens over in the Orton house.
Told Vanessa, put the strap on, and she's like, I don't think it really works that way, but we can try. Yeah. Okay, all right, I guess. All right, interesting, Mach. Love you for that. I can't unhear that now. I'm going to be thinking about that at work tomorrow.
Fucking Francis.
Look at D. Guys, again, Roman Reigns continues the streak. Certainly, it's being reported he will not be at Survivor Series. He will not reappear. Maybe leading up until the Royal Rumble, where it's being reported that his next challenger will be AJ Styles, who should be probably as good as new from a recent injury that he suffered. I think that's a match again, and as someone that got to see it, back in 2018 at Extreme Rules at the Prudential Center, I got to tell you that. Listen, I think that's a really good potential feud for Roman going to the Rumble in Tampa.
Delivers for sure, man.
Yeah,
delivers. It's a match that delivers.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
that's going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely,
no pun intended.
But a great crown jewel, another great PLE. Being reported, WWE received $50 million alone from the Saudi government for crown jewels. So you want to talk about success? It's box office, metrics, merch. Again, WWE continues to print money like it's the Federal Reserve. With all this success.
No problem, my friend.
Definitely. Guys, main event time. And obviously with the announcement of Survivor Series War Games emanating from Chicago's United Center, right? I believe it. Or is it the Allstate Arena? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to. Again, D, you have a week to do some homework, bro.
It's in Chicago. It's in Chicago, Holmes.
Okay.
Chicago, man.
Chicago way.
Not sure what building it is, but obviously with the announcement of War Games, let's go back in time a little bit, guys, and let's think back to War Games as the institution. Again, Mach and I are big NWA, WCW fans. I always enjoyed historically the way that Dusty Rhodes created. It's fascinating the way that we hear the tales about Dusty Rhodes creating the concept on a napkin, and what we first saw as the first War Games on July 4th, 1987, if I remember correctly. The Superpowers, Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff, joining the Road Warriors and Precious Paul Ellering against the Horsemen, and the executive director of the Four Horsemen, James J. Dillon, as the first ever War Games. I believe at the Omni in Atlanta. I believe they also had a rematch later at the Orange Bowl during the Great American Bash tour of that series that year. First War Games was amazing. Obviously, we got to see a couple other ones. I'll go first here with this. I would argue my favorite War Games match of all time, I think for its significance and for the storyline that was building for almost a full calendar year, was in the summer of 1989 during the Great American Bash. Again, great pay-per-view if you ever have a chance to watch it on Peacock in between the 57 ads you have to endure. Great War Games match. The Freebirds, at the time the World Tag Team Champions, along with Terry Gordy and the Samoan SWAT team, as we obviously got to know them as Samu and Fatu, against Dr. Death Steve Williams, the Road Warriors, and the Midnight Express, Sweet Stan and Beautiful Bobby. I mean, in Baltimore, what a great War Games. I was never really a fan of just how low that roof of the cage was, because as we all know, we got to see some spots over the years, Brian Pillman almost getting killed by Sid Vicious in 1990 at Wrestle War during that pay-per-view. I would argue there was a lot of great compelling storytelling. The Road Warriors have been cheated out of the tag titles. So were the Midnight Express. The Freebirds were on this hot roll. Jimmy Garvin just joined the Freebirds after Buddy Roberts obviously had departed the team in 1986, 87, I think. And, they had been pairing Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes for a while, but it wasn't until the beginning of 1987 that, Jimmy Garvin officially became a Freebird. Great storytelling, great match. Obviously, the winners with Road Warrior Hawk making Jimmy Garvin submit to a standing neck vice. I think that's the move. I could be wrong. You guys are the workers. Correct me. But great War Games match. I would argue my favorite of all time.
Yeah, really solid match. Definitely recommend for people to watch all three of these matches we're about to mention because, well, I think, Pat, you said you're going more recent.
Yeah, absolutely am. I'm going to go with the more recent ones because I figured you guys would go with the old ones. And I feel like this is a match that has spanned many generations. So it's kind of interesting to shed some light on some of the War Games matches that we've had in modern times, which I think have been pretty fucking good.
Yeah, agreed. My match is from Wrestle War 92. I mean, if I told you that a match consisted of Sting, Dustin Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and they worked a team of Arn Anderson, Beautiful Bobby, Larry Zbyszko, Rick Rude, and Steve Austin.
Barry Windham, right? Right, Macho?
Yeah, Barry Windham. Yeah, Barry Windham. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that right there tells you, and this version of Steve Austin was the worker's worker. Like, this dude was awesome. I believe at the time he was either feuding with Dustin or Ricky. This was exceptional. I mean, I enjoyed this match. Watching Sting press Rick Rude and like hit him on the roof of the cage was just like, whoa. It was a really, really good match. I mean, obviously, I feel like Sting back in the day before WWE, he was like the king of the War Games matches. He was in like almost all of them. So I definitely enjoyed this and stuff. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know a lot about like Nikita Koloff and Larry Zbyszko and how good they were in the ring.
Yeah.
I think people just imagine that Larry was just like a play-by-play guy, but he was a really good worker.
That was the latter stages of Larry Zbyszko, right, Macho? I mean, he was kind of the tail end of his in-ring career at that point.
Yeah, but he was still a really good worker.
Very, yes, very.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and I'm a little biased because I'm a massive Rick Rude fan. I think he was one of the most underrated wrestlers. He sold like a motherfucker. Yeah. Nobody took the atomic drop like Rick Rude. Nobody took back body drops like Rick Rude. He was awesome. And we got Ricky. We got young Dustin, the natural Dustin Rhodes. I mean, just a really good match.
All right. Well, I am going to go with a modern one. I'm going to go with a historic one. And I'm going to go with the first ever women's War Games match from NXT, which featured Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Tegan Nox taking on the team of Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kylie Ray. And this was at TakeOver War Games 2019. This was the first ever women's War Games match. And I got to say, man, the women all really delivered in this match. It was famous for the Dakota Kai heel turn there, where she took out Tegan Nox, and then it ended up being 4-on-2, and it was Candice and Rhea, basically fighting to win the match. Really just, I think, a taste of the future for Rhea. You kind of saw what Rhea was capable of, just over time. You could really see the kind of star that she would become. And obviously a history-making match. I mean, Shayna was still such a killer back then. She was amazing in the match as well, too. But, yeah, man, all in all, I thought it was a fantastic match. And it was just definitely a match that had a peek into the future, if you will. I think, seeing Io Shirai as dominant as she was, and basically all those women involved in that match are like on the Raw roster, with the exception of like, I think one. So, pretty impressive and a historic match, and definitely one that ushered in, a new era, really. You know, I mean,
Kylie's over on SmackDown.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah.
What did they change her name to?
Is it Isla Dawn?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So she went through a name change. All right.
Yeah.
But this match was awesome, man. And I gotta say, I really have enjoyed the open roof. I know for some purists, it's you know, they get a little upset about it, but I think that for this day and age, the type of workers that you have, the athleticism that these performers have, I don't think it hinders the match in any type of way. And I think it only adds to, you know, potential of greatness.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy the fact that they're trapped, but obviously having EO do a moonsault off the top of the cage is pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, Ricochet doing the same thing. I mean, that adds to the match or whatever, but you're supposed to be trapped.
To be fair, I mean, exactly. Yeah. And I think to the point of like this past WrestleMania when we had Finn against Edge, I mean, there were certain parts of the Hell in a Cell that you could stand on and you could do those high risk moves. So again, I think the reason I enjoyed the War Games again was sort of the element, as Mach said eloquently, that you feel trapped in there. There's that element of like, oh my God, like this is again suspending disbelief. Like you're having these guys enclosed in there, and it was just like a bloody battle. And I understand times change. You're not going to have people opening up gashes, and we all get all that stuff. I think another element too. I think Macho will appreciate this as well. One of the things that really made War Games for me such a great novelty is that yes, when it went from 92 and then let's be fair into 93, and that War Games match was not very good. When it was like Harlem Heat, I think Sid and Vader against Sting, the Bulldog, Shockmaster.
Watch your mouth.
Well, per se. But there was a little bit of a gap between having it back on pay-per-view and then thankfully for me, and again, I don't know if Macho will agree with this. I know we're big WCW guys, but it was great that they had incorporated that now into a yearly thing at Fall Brawl, where that was a September pay-per-view for WCW every year. And I really like that Fall Brawl War Games, and that had become sort of staple every single year. Right. Again, another match, 95, that War Games match with Hogan and Luger and Sting and Macho against the Dungeon. I mean, Jesus Christ, Kamala, Ming, Earth Shark, whatever. Not Kevin Sullivan. I forget what the other guy was, but not the greatest War Games match. But I always looked at War Games as like this novelty that was a good yearly tradition. I like that Paul introduced it in NXT. Back, I believe, was the first year 2018 or 2019? I don't remember exactly. D, you got a lot of homework to do, bro. So fucking
War
get
Games.
on. D. I would say that a great novelty that Paul Levesque reintroduced back in either 2018, 2019 as part of NXT during Survivor Series weekend. Now we know it's become a permanent part of Survivor Series weekend. We'll see what the women's War Games match will be coming up in just 2 weeks from this Saturday in Chicago.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it in general. I want to see what happens. I really hope that we get some special guest appearances, because one of the best memories for one of the best in recent memory was definitely the Kevin Owens re-emerging for NXT. That was a really good spot. So, that War Games match was pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely. I would argue, and again, I think this is a softball down the middle of the plate, but what Tony Khan has attempted to recreate with Blood and Guts every May, with his reenactment of War Games, the original War Games, right? The trapped structure. It's basically Hell in a Cell just side by side. I mean, it's a very high roof. It allows for a lot of different high spots. Obviously, it makes it a lot more menacing when you think about, thus far, every time they've had Blood and Guts on AEW television, they always end up on the roof of the cage, right? Obviously, we had that horrible, horrible visual in 2021 with Chris Jericho being thrown off the top of the cage. Fucking bad.
Remember that? That was fucking. Wow.
I mean, like that's an inflatable bed that you like take on a camping trip or on a fucking road trip to, I don't know, see in-laws or something. But credit Tony Khan to some extent trying to recreate that nostalgia. But those have been bad blood and guts matches. I get people get involved again in the nostalgia component of it, but those have been bad.
Most things in AEW are bad.
It just isn't good. I mean, people have gotten hurt because of the way it's been set up. The one thing that I love about the modern War Games matches is how they have that little ramp in between the rings now, that little lip that they insert there. So now guys aren't going to fall between the fucking ring and everybody can do their spot good. So just little modifications like that also for television purposes. I mean, you want to make the most of it. You want to capture the emotion, and I just think that these little enhancements haven't really hindered the match in any type of way. Tony Khan is trying to kind of access a little bit of the old spirit of the match, but he just doesn't. The execution always falls short. It was a tad hokey with the fall off the cage and stuff like that. But I mean, it's AEW.
You want Freddie to rumble too many times.
Wow. But, we'll see what happens in War Games, but certainly, I mean, all our choices tonight, guys. I mean, great matches over the years. And, it's one of those attractions I think we've always liked as pro wrestling fans. And, with time, it adapts, right? Evolves when it comes to how War Games is presented. I mean, obviously now, right, there's the novelty of the guys aren't just, and the girls aren't coming from the back. Now they're locked in a sort of penalty box type cage center, right? Which is kind of interesting, I think. It's again lends itself to a different dynamic than just being at ringside after the. Actually, another interesting dynamic about War Games, I think that last year was the first time. If I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but last year was the first time that. Well, what they've done in recent years is whether it's a ladder match to determine the advantage in War Games. But last year, if I remember correctly, was the first ever incident where the faces won the advantage in War Games in a match preceding it, and they ended up losing. In most instances, the heels have always won the man advantage after the first 5-minute period. So very different last year to have the faces win the advantage, but subsequently we all know what happened. So kind of a different twist I think, to the match itself, guys.
Yeah, that was an interesting little wrinkle, I think, for I guess for the fans of the match. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be fantastic, man. I think they're going to have another great show. There's a lot of cool surprises on the horizon. I know as, the weeks get a little bit closer and closer, we're going to have a little more information as to what to expect. But, based on what we're seeing out there, whether it's the return of CM Punk or the return of Randy Orton, Survivor Series is certainly gearing up to be an interesting PLE.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, as we're wrapping up the show here this week, on this day, November the 7th in pro wrestling history, on this day in 1979, Harley Race defeated the Giant Baba to win back the NWA World Heavyweight title in Amagasaki, Japan. He had just lost it to Baba only a week earlier. In 1985, WWE presented the Wrestling Classic, which, by the way, folks, if you have not watched it on Peacock, definitely watch it. Full of Hall of Famers. It emanated from the Rosemont Horizon in suburban Chicago. It was the first event in WWE history that was available exclusively only on pay-per-view right after WrestleMania, coincidentally of that year. The draw of the event was a star-studded 16-man single elimination tournament. The tournament was won by the Macho Man Randy Savage, who defeated Polish Power Ivan Putski, Ricky Steamboat, and the Dynamite Kid on the way to a tournament win, subsequently over the Junkyard Dog. Again, one of the better pay-per-views from the mid-'80s. The Wrestling Classic, you guys should definitely catch it on Peacock. In 1994, on this edition of Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon himself announced Macho Man Randy Savage had left the WWE after a 20-year stint. He would debut for WCW a few weeks later. Savage never appeared for the WWE again before his death in 2011. He was subsequently inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. I remember that Monday Night Raw where he said, hey, we wish him well. And, of course, subsequently we would see Macho Man show up on WCW Saturday Night. And then at Starrcade later on in 1994, one of the more historic moments, I think, where Vince actually acknowledged the departure of someone which wasn't really the norm on television, right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, great respect to Macho Man Randy Savage, or Randy Macho Man Savage, however you prefer to say his name. I think that was just Vince's way of leaving the door open.
Yeah, definitely. On this day in 1999, ECW's November to Remember took place at the Burt Flickinger Center in Buffalo, New York. I know. No title changes. What? What? I tried my best to pronounce it. I don't know.
What is it Flickinger or Flickinger?
Flickinger. I don't know. It's also
right.
people. Who knows? No title changes took place on the card, but Rob Van Dam retained the World Television Championship against Taz. This was Taz's last pay-per-view match for ECW before his departure, where he would debut in January of 2000 at Madison Square Garden against Kurt Angle at the Royal Rumble. Also, Mike Awesome also retained the ECW Championship against Masato Tanaka. The main event of the night saw Rhino and the Impact players, consisting of Lance Storm and Just Incredible, defeating Raven, Tommy Dreamer, and the Sandman. Also on this day in 2004, TNA held their first ever 3-hour monthly pay-per-view when they presented Victory Road from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. The sole title change of the evening saw Three Life Crew, Conan and BG James, otherwise known as Road Dogg, defeat Team Canada, consisting of Bobby Roode and Eric Young, to win the NWA World Tag Team titles. In the main event, Jeff Jarrett, Slapnuts, defeated Jeff Hardy in a ladder match to retain the NWA World Heavyweight title. After the main event, the late great Macho Man Randy Savage made his TNA debut exactly 10 years to the day since he departed from the WWE. Also in 2010, TNA's Turning Point took place from the Impact Zone. And in the main event, we saw mostly sort of ECW alumni going under the name EV 2.0, as the team consisted of, again, defeating Brian Kendrick, Raven, Rhino, Sabu, and Stevie Richards. Also in 2015, at New Japan's Power Struggle in Osaka, Japan, Ricochet and Matt Sydal defeated Roppongi Vice, Beretta, and Rocky Romero to win the 2015 Super Junior Tag Team Tournament. And also on this day in 2020 at AEW's Full Gear, which took place at Daily's Place during the pandemic in Jacksonville, Florida. In the main event, Jon Moxley retained the AEW World Heavyweight title against Eddie Kingston in an I Quit match. Elsewhere on the card, Darby Allin won the TNT Championship from Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks claimed the tag team titles from FTR. All this happened on this day in pro wrestling history.
Nice. Did you mention Nikki Cross?
I did not mention Nikki Cross.
Last year on this day, she also retired the 24/7 championship by throwing it in the trash after winning it.
I was not aware of that. Wow. Thank the Lord. Thank God that.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah. Listen, the less of K-Quick on my fucking TV screen, the better, but that's just me.
Wow. Holy hell.
Sorry, man. I wasn't not a fan of R-Truth. I'm sorry. Never liked it.
You didn't like Ron the Truth Killings?
I mean, NWA World Heavyweight. Sure.
Yeah. You said you're a big Impact guy.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of R-Truth. I get it. Wrestling needs comedy acts, and he fulfilled a certain role, but just wasn't for me. But
I think, he definitely had a place in wrestling. All right, guys.
Pat is notoriously quiet there. I don't know. I don't know if it's the wine. I don't know if it's the
I'm tired. Fucking take it home, bro.
All right. Mach, anything coming up big for you coming up?
Nope, that's pretty much it. Just have our big our Must Love Wrestling. We'll do our show tomorrow night at 9:30, and we'll be just pretty much going over the Montreal screw job because the anniversary is right around the corner. And me and Tyler, we definitely are on different sides of this, so you guys should check it out because it's gonna get heated. It's gonna be good.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I mean, Mach, real quick, not to spoil it, but real quick, not to engage and lengthen this more than we should.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pat's about to pass out soon. Where do you stand on that real quick?
You wish.
I think Brett should have done the job. but I also think that he shouldn't have been embarrassed the way he was. So it's weird. It's weird. No. I think he should have done his job. He should have dropped the title because that's what you do in professional wrestling. You leave on your back. But I also think the way he was embarrassed that night was it just took away from a phenomenal match. That match was 1,000 times better than the Iron Man match.
Match, fair points. I think I agree with you wholeheartedly. Absolutely. Yeah. Great take on that.
Do your job.
Do your job. Do your job.
Pat, what's coming up for you, brother?
I got this thing between my legs. That's about it. It's about the only thing that's coming up. Everything else.
Oh my God. All right. Well, on that note, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, guys, for me personally, guys, check out Real Talk this Monday. David Wildstein, the editor of the New Jersey Globe, will be on with me exclusively. He doesn't do a lot of shows in any New Jersey media outlets. He and I developed a pretty good friendship. He'll come on my show regularly. We'll break down election results in New Jersey tonight. A lot of upsets in legislative elections, some good municipal elections, a lot of Board of Education races went very favorably for me, and I'm very happy about that. We'll talk about that this Monday live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Real Talk via Jersey First TV. Folks, he is Pennsylvania's premier wrestling observer, Macho Rodriguez. He is Weehawken's premier wrestling analyst and wine connoisseur.
Go fuck yourself.
Otherwise known as Joe Hand. I am New Jersey's premier journalist, Fernando Uribe, saying so long, folks. And always remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Please party responsibly. We'll see you next week. Working the marks right here on Famcast. Hopefully, Dee will come back from his hiatus. He'll be clean shaven. He'll look like an adult. We can always hope. Folks, we'll see you next week here on Famcast Media.
Famcast Media. Bitch.